to the inside, the dirty side of the track, but it is the inside. There's Jorge Pescador in the blue Praga kart. Pulls over to the left of your screen now. Of course, he started the pre-final from pole. It did not have a good run. Jordan Lennox-Lamb in the red and white Dural Art kart pulls into his grid spot. Grid number 11 alongside the New Zealander Marcus Armstrong. Lorenzo Complesi way back on grid number 21, but set the fastest lap of the pre-final. We are a few moments away from the start of the first round of the European Championships for 2016. Ardigo, the Italian, versus Drezen, the Belgian. 25 laps the distance here in SA. 4 red lights, they go out, and we are racing. A little bit of wheel spin off the line from Drezen. Ardigo down the inside, a great start by the Frenchman, Jeremy Iglesias, in the Sodi kart. The French driver in France in position number 2. Ardigo, the 3-time world champion, will lead them down the hill for the first time. Iglesias, a great start by Paolo De Conto. Drezen, that wheel spin off the line has cost him because the Belgian is back in 4th spot. Ardigo up the hill for the first time from Iglesias. Then it's Paolo De Conto. Well, he is still absolutely bitter about losing the World Championship 6 months ago in Le Mans on the final lap. Gets a little bit sideways coming on to the straight darts, the CRG driver. Ben Henley has not made the best start. The Brit has dropped down a couple of spots. He is in 6th. Unfortunately, we've lost the first driver. The Frenchman Enzo Samon in the Roberto Kubica kart is a retirement. So, Jeremy Iglesias all over the back of Ardigo, and while we were watching that, I think Flavio Camponeschi has got through on Rek Drezen. Yes, he has. There you can see the CRG driver as Iglesias tries the outside of Ardigo. Can he do it around the outside? No, he's gone too wide. He's out in the marbles. That will cost him badly. Look at the gap. He's lost 10 metres to the race leader. I don't think you can pass on the outside of the snail corners. But Jeremy Iglesias, I'm sorry, tried it. Look, he was in the marbles. Already his Vega tyres were dirty. Ardigo says, I'll just drive you into the rubbish. He didn't need to do anything but turn in. You saw that Jeremy Iglesias lost a lot of time there. De Conto and Flavio Camponeschi, the CRGs are 3 and 4. Then we go back to Rek Drezen, who has just been passed by the Praga kart of Jorge Pescador. The Spaniard now in position number 5. Drezen from the front row of the grid from 2nd is now back into position number 6. Well, let's see if Jeremy Iglesias can recover from that moment. A lap ago, gets a little bit sideways under acceleration. Flavio Camponeschi, the number 1. That is the reigning European champion, now with a CRG team. He's in 4th spot, all over the back of his teammate Paolo De Conto. De Conto using the Maxter engine. Flavio Camponeschi with the Perilla. There is Pescador in position number 5. In the Praga kart, of course, he had 2 heat wins yesterday, and he is starting to close in on the leaders. Iglesias, the Frenchman, looks over his shoulder. The Sodi kart team were very, very disappointed, let's just say, not to win the World Championship on their home turf last year. A big effort from the French team. They want to win here in France. Jeremy Iglesias is close right up on the rear bumper of Marco Ardigo. Camponeschi is behind his countryman and teammate. The CRG's running in 3rd and 4th. Jorge Pescador starting to catch the front runners. Marco Ardigo in the Tony kart. Very, very smooth under brakes. The 3-time world champion. He's got a very determined Frenchman driving a French kart on French bitumen right on his rear bumper. They've got about 4 or 5 kart lengths back to De Conto and Camponeschi. Surely Iglesias will not try the outside around that particular corner again. He's learnt from that. How it did not cost him more is an absolute miracle. Just works the steering wheel. A little bit of a wobble coming onto the straight. 6th gear, the fastest part of the circuit. Camponeski in the green and white helmet. Iglesias down the inside. What a move! The Frenchman now leads. The French crowd love that move. The TKART of the French driver, Jeremy Iglesias, leads in France. Let's have a look at the replay. Down the inside, he had a look of it. This was earlier on, of course. Then we go back to that very move there. He had Ardigo lined up from 2 corners prior, slipped down the inside, the 3-time world champion. Let's see if the TKART pilot can respond. The CRGs just watch on. This, in fact, is the replay. Iglesias down the inside of Ardigo. Brilliantly done, very clean move. Ardigo, no response that time. As Flavio Camponeski goes down the inside of his teammate. Flavio Camponeski, the reigning European champion, is now up onto the 3rd step of the podium. Iglesias, Ardigo, Camponeski. I hate to say it, but you're probably thinking the same thing that I am. Ardigo in the TKART and CRG driver now, Camponeski. Well, they were in the same team last year. They were teammates. Camponeski is going to be on the bumper of his former teammate in just a few moments' time. Do you think that battle will rage eternal? No love lost between the 2 Italians. Ardigo from Brescia in northern Italy. Flavio Camponeski from Rome. There he is in 3rd spot. He's about to challenge his former teammate for 2nd place imminently, as the Frenchman Jeremy Iglesias has now put 0.19 of a second, about 1.5 kart lengths. Ardigo looks behind him. Guess who's there, Marco? Your former TKART teammate, now driving a black CRG. Flavio is coming and he is after you. The crowd here know it. They know there's no love lost between the 2 Italians. All the while, they have to deal with the Frenchman out front. Jeremy Iglesias down through the gearbox. That TM engine in the TKART. They have not won the World Championship since David Terrien took the world title at Laval in Formula A way back in 1993. The TKART team, who in quantity, in numbers, in volume, are the largest kart manufacturer in the world. They are desperate to win in 2016. They have Jeremy Iglesias. They have Anthony Abbas. They have the 3-time World Cup champion, Bas Lemmers. They have a French driver in their French kart leading here in France. Do you think they want to win this one badly? Oh yeah. Ardigo in 2nd spot. The gap remains 0.1 of a second. You can see he's virtually in his slipstream. To use a little bit of F1 slang, he's in his DRS zone. Around the final corners. Coming onto the straight, 5th gear, 6th gear. 136 kilometers an hour right there before changing down into turn number 1. There's Paolo De Conto. Jorge Pescadore is in position number 5. He leaves Patrick Hayek, the Czech driver, in the Cosmic Kart. Then it's Ben Henley, the 2 Brits in fact, because Henley leads his countryman Jordan Lennox Lamb. Jorrit Pex, the reigning world champion, is in 9th. He made a pretty good start. Rek Reisen, front row of the grid, the Belgian, is now back in position number 10, 1 ahead of the Kiwi from Christchurch, New Zealand, Marcus Armstrong. Iglesias is starting to hold up Ardigo just a little bit, and I'll tell you why, because Flavio Camponeski, ever so slowly, is just starting to catch the front 2. Ardigo will need to make a move, imminently, or he will have his former teammate right on his rear bumper, and be assured Flavio will be merciless in trying to make a move on Ardigo. There is Flavio, he's catching him. Who would have thought? The reigning European champion? He had a brilliant 2015. He won the Winter Cup, he won the WSK Champions Cup in Adria, he won the opening 2 rounds of the European Championship. He is the reigning European champion. And then sensationally, after Le Mans last year, he quit the green team. He lines up for CRG, and now he's lining up his former teammate. Ardigo now is closer to the Frenchman than ever. The gap is now 0.113 of a second. Down into turn number 2, that's the best passing spot on the track. Be assured, Marco will be lining him up. Jeremy Iglesias, very, very smooth behind the steering wheel. Marco Ardigo, well, he's like a statue. The slightest, most subtle movements on the steering wheel. Does not move in that go-kart. Very, very stable, super experienced. He's been a professional kart racing driver since the mid-1990s. Flavio Camponeschi. He's taken another 10th out of Ardigo the last time round. DeConto still sits in position number 4, ahead of Patrick Hayek. Ben Henley has recovered back up to 6th, and he's dragged his countryman along with him. Jordan Lennox Lamb in the Burrell Art is in 7th. Pescador has faded to 8th. There he goes through just ahead of Jorge Pex. Marcus Armstrong, the Kiwi, now inside the top 10 in the other factory Tony Kart. This is half race distance right there. Iglesias in France, driving the French Sodi kart. Manufactured only a couple of 100 kilometres from here, if that. Ardigo, I don't need to tell you the time difference. You can see he's right on the tail of the Frenchman. They come up the start-finish line to start lap number 13. Ardigo just reaches down with his left hand, lowers the blind on that radiator, lets a little bit more airflow through to that vortex engine. There's Armstrong going through. Having got past the Reisen, who's now back in 11, Anthony Abbas, Simo Puhaka, the driver from Tampere in Finland. You just got a glimpse of the Croatian Christian Haberlin in the Tibi kart, who sensationally qualified second fastest yesterday morning. Had a wretched run through the heats though. Sits there behind the Swede Andreas Backman and the former World Cup champion Jonathan Tonon just outside the top 20. As we go back to the leaders, look how close Ardigo is this time around. They come through the final corner, 50 and 96 kilometres an hour in the middle of the corner. Iglesias looks over his shoulder. He'll be thinking, oh no, anyone but you. Marco, up the inside goes the Italian. Well, he lined him up 2 quarters prior. Marco Ardigo has gone through on the Frenchman. Let's see if Jeremy Iglesias can respond. He looks over his shoulder. Flavio Camponeschi is coming. He desperately wants to join in the battle as we look at the replay. Down the inside into turn number 2. Marco Ardigo planned that move half a lap prior. There was only millimetres between the rear bumper of Ardigo and the front spoiler. Ironically enough, the OTK front spoiler, the Sodi kart of Iglesias. The Frenchman now back in second spot as the rest of the field flashes through the Reisen. Just ahead of Gary Carlton, who's got past Joel Johansson, who we heard from prior to the start of this race. Henley now has got up into position number 5. Benjamin Henley from Manchester in England in the Jules Bianchi kart. It's got past DeConto, I'm sorry, into 5th spot. So DeConto is 6th. Jordan Lennox Lamb is 7th. Jorge Pex is now into 8th. Jorge Pescador is 9th, and Marcus Armstrong from New Zealand rounds out the top 10. So with 10 laps to go, it is Ardigo, Iglesias, Camponeschi, Hayek and Ben Henley. That is your top 5. Ardigo already has put 0.3 of a second between himself and the Frenchman. Gee, he's a cunning driver, isn't he, Marco Ardigo? You think he's absolutely at his limit. You think that's all he's got to give. And then with one ruthless move, he goes down the inside of the Frenchman and immediately puts 0.3 of a second on him. In fact, the gap is now out to 0.4 of a second. Camponeschi in 3rd spot. Hayek in the Cosmic kart. There he is at the top of your screen. He's in 4th, being hunted by Benjamin Henley. Iglesias, can he respond? He's got 9 laps to do it. To be honest, I don't think so. Let's not write him off though. The gap last time around was 0.420 of a second. Let's check it for you as he comes across the stripe. 0.424. It remains virtually identical. There is Henley with his countryman Jordan Lennox Lamb behind him, and the Czech driver Patrick Hayek in front of him. Gary Carlton in the Formula K kart puts the left rear onto the grass, and David Foray now with the Gold Kart team capitalises. Foray and Johansson, both of them have struggled this weekend with excessive wheel spin, trying to get the power down on this very abrasive SA surface. Expect better things to come from them in the second round of the series at Zaragoza in Spain in 3 weeks' time. Of course, you can see that and every round of the European Championship live on CIKFIA.tv. Marco Ardigo rounds the final turn to start lap number 18. It was 0.424 of a second. It remains virtually identical. Camponeschi, you can see, is about 3 to 4 kart lengths behind, maybe a little bit more. Well, can Camponeschi close in and pass the Frenchman and mount a challenge on his former teammate? From a sporting point of view, the crowd would love to see that. That battle is going to rage throughout 2016. Anthony Abasco's through in the other Soddy kart. There's Armstrong. Foray. Gary Carlton in the Formula K kart. Of course, made that slight error half a lap ago and lost 2 or 3 places in the process. Who would have thought the likes of David Foray, the 4-times world champion, sitting in 15th. One ahead of him in 14th is Bas Lemmers, the 3-time World Cup champion, driving a virtually identical kart to that of Iglesias, who sits in 2nd spot. Has been mixed results this weekend as Pescadore down the inside of DeConto, who's faded back to 9th position. Yeah, the weather has made this weekend a little bit of a lottery, but as ever, the cream rises to the top. Marco Ardigo, the ultimate professional, 5.5 laps to go. Looks over his shoulder, coming up the hill. The gap is now out to 0.52 of a second, and Flavio Camponeschi is closing in on the Frenchman. Patrick Hayek is in 4th. Ben Henley still can't get past the Czech driver. Iglesias looks over his shoulder. There is Hayek, Henley, Jordan Lennox Lamb in the Burrell Art. Jorrit Peck's now up into position number 7, so a reasonable recovery from the Dutchman. Lemmers goes through. There's Carlton, the driver from California, on the tail of the former KZ2 International Super Cup winner. That is Andrea Dalle. He won that title at Sarno in 2014. You can't say it's a bad result to be sitting anywhere in this field. Even the drivers outside the top 20, such is the class. All the way down from position 1 to 26. Unfortunately, we have had 5 retirements. Rekter Reisen from grid number 2 has retired, along with the Frenchman Julien Verhart. The 3-time World Cup champion in the other Praga kart, Jonathan Tonon, is out, as is the driver from Macau, Andy Chang. He had an engine failure in the heats yesterday, and of course we lost Enzo Simon earlier on. Flavio Camponeschi, as you can see, is all over the back of the Frenchman. He's got 3.5 laps to make a move on the Soddy kart. We've got 3 different manufacturers in the top 3. We've got 2 nationalities. The Frenchman is sandwiched by the 2 Italians. Iglesias now under severe pressure. He looked behind him. He would have heard the Perula engine of Camponeschi. He could just about sense it as they come onto the straight. 5th gear, grabs 6th right there. There's Camponeschi. Watching down into turn number 2. He's probably too far back this time. One thing about Camponeschi is when he makes a move, it is usually absolutely decisive. Like a knife cutting through butter. There's no doubt, there's no if, there's no half chance with Flavio. It's bang up the inside and through. Let's see if he makes that very move in the next 3 laps. I don't think anyone's going to catch the winner, though. The leader, though, I'm getting ahead of myself. Soon to be the winner, it appears, and that is Marco Ardigo in the Vortex Powered Tony kart. Iglesias now goes defensive on Camponeschi. Right on his tail. Grabs another gear, that's 5th through the final turn at 96 k's an hour. Camponeschi ever so slight opposite lock, watching down into turn number 2. The TM powered Soddy kart though gets really good traction coming onto the straight. Camponeschi closes up under brakes. The leader, forget about it. Marco Ardigo is on his way to victory with a lap and a half to go. Iglesias is very defensive. Oh, Camponeschi up the inside. He puts 2 wheels on the ripple strip. Wheel spins on the exit. He's gone through. They did not touch. Well, we were saying what a decisive overtaker Flavio Camponeschi is, and he proves us right with a lap and a half to go as the rain starts to come down. Let's look at the replay. He had it all locked up. The left Vega on the grass. Forget about the ripple strip. He had half the chassis on the infield. To be fair, credit to Jeremy Iglesias, who gave him racing room. This is the final lap of the opening round of the European Championships. Hanley still cannot get past the Czech driver, Patrick Hayek, who is only one spot off the podium. Lennox Lamb is in 6th, then it's Pex in 7th, Pescadore, De Conto. Marco Ardigo has got a 2.6 second lead over the rest of the field, aided, obviously, by that move by Camponeschi a lap ago. You can see the few drops of rain on your screen here in SA. It is freezing cold. We will get through it. This is the final few corners for the three-time world champion. Marco Ardigo rounds the final corner here in SA. He pumps the fist in the air. He has won the opening round of the European Championships. A brilliant drive by Flavio Camponeschi to take second with 2 laps to go. Jeremy Iglesias once again ensures the French flag will fly on the podium. Great sportsmanship there from Marco Ardigo. A great race earlier on with Jeremy Iglesias to take the final step of the podium. The 2007, 2008 and 2014 world champion Marco Ardigo won all those titles with the green team. He's won the opening round of the European Championships here in SA. A brilliant race, a brilliant tactical race by the green team as we check the highlights. Remember, Drezen started on the front row of the grid, but that was as good as it got for the 2014 Euro champ. The Ricardo kart driver eventually would not finish. Iglesias, well, he tried it once around the outside, got pushed out into the marbles. That very well could have been the end of his race there, but he did recover. It was worth a try. Incredibly, it didn't cost him that much. A brilliant move up the inside by Jeremy. Ardigo looks over his shoulder and says, okay, this race truly is on. There were the 2 CRG drivers, Camponeschi and De Conto. Paolo eventually would go on to finish 9th, and then, as ever, a very decisive move from Marco Ardigo going through on the Frenchman. In the end, the gap was 2.2 seconds. Flavio Camponeschi, remember, he started dead last in the pre-final. A brilliant move up over the ripple strip from the reigning European champion in kart number 1, although that is painted on to a black CRG kart. Marco Ardigo wins the opening round of the European Championships here in France. And the big crowd appreciated that. Particularly the very partisan French crowd, who once again will see a French driver at least on the podium, even if it is not the top step. So Marco Ardigo has won it from Camponeschi and Jeremy Iglesias. Great drive by Patrick Hayek to come home 4th, just 1 spot off the podium in the Cosmic Kart. The 2 Brits, Hanley and Lennox Lamb. Then the reigning world champ, Pex. Well, a reasonable recovery from Europe to finish in 7th spot. Then it was Jorge Pescadore, Paolo De Conto, and the Finn from Tampere, Finland, Simo Puhaka in the CRG, rounding out the top 10. Well, stay with us on CIKFIA.tv. We will have the podium, the official presentation for you in just a few moments.